up when you're ready. All right, guys, I'm super excited to bring to you tonight a topic that I know a lot of us really struggle with, is finding momentum in our challenge groups. It's a lot of times, especially in those first few months, we tend to have a lot of crickets and it's really hard to get engagement, and we struggle because we feel like we're putting in so much effort on the back end and we're not getting much participation. So challenge groups is something I'm really passionate about. We have found a niche with our challenge groups that have worked really, really well. It did not start off that way. It's one of those things that has really built over time. So at this point, between Jennifer and I and our groups, we have about 250 people in those groups, and they are super engaged and posting all the time and sharing sweaty selfies. But in the beginning, there were things that we did to set up that group for a good foundation. So I want to give you 5 kind of takeaways, things that we've learned over the months, and hopefully it will help you as well. So I'm going to kind of go through the 5 different points, and then I'll expand on them. So the first one is themed posts each day. The second one is behind-the-scenes check-ins. The third is flash challenges and live videos. The 4th is prizes, and the 5 is new recruits. So, themed post. I'm actually going to share with you my screen and show you what I mean by themed posts. Let's see if it will let me do this. Sometimes I have difficulty with this. Okay, so can you guys see that, hopefully? I know it's not very big. But if you can see it, it is a theme post for a Monday. So I'm going to show you a couple different examples. But I know a lot of people tend to stick to the traditional motivational Monday. In my groups, I try to think outside the box. So for this one, it was called Make Someone Smile Monday. Their first portion of their assignment is what nutrition goal were they tackling for the week. But then part 2 was they were supposed to send a text or a message to someone to put a smile on someone else's face. So you're paying it forward. So that's a creative way to get them engaged, and doesn't always have to be centered around weight loss. So Motivational Monday, Make Someone Smile Monday. Another one I really like is Timid Tuesday. A lot of times in our groups, they battle fear of failure, fear of not succeeding in their weight loss goals, fear of what people will think of them. So their assignment was, what fear do you have that sometimes holds you back from hitting your goals? So we talked about that. We named it Timid Tuesday. Another one is Torture Tuesday, which this one is what this one is. So basically, I was talking about when I started my own journey a year ago, I had trouble with simple things like walking to the mailbox, push-ups, chasing my son around. But now that my fitness has improved to the point where those no longer feel like torture. So I asked them, what is the one thing that you felt like torture before you started your journey that now you can conquer? So finding creative ways to theme your posts. I'm going to go through a couple more, but these are just to give you some ideas. I spend a lot of time prepping for my challenge groups and setting up all those posts to go out at 6 a.m. in the morning. So I have a program software that I use called SyncShare, C-I-N-C-H share.com. It is $10 a month, but it's well worth keeping the stress of having to post every morning away. So those are a couple ideas for Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday is a great opportunity for you to help them hone in on their why. Why are they working towards these goals? What is it? Ask them to share a picture if it's their family or their son or daughter. Making sure to refocus them, particularly in the last half of the month, on why they started to keep momentum. Worthy Wednesday, this was one that worked really well for my group recently. A lot of times our challengers emotionally are not healthy, and so it's also our job to improve their overall health, not just their physical health. And so, I asked them to identify what positive message in this list was really helpful for them, or what were they clinging to, what were they focusing on that day. Is it worthy of love, worthy of grace, or time, or forgiveness, or hope, or investing in? And giving them a list of things to focus on so that they're writing a positive message on their heart. So that's an idea. Obviously, Wednesdays, you can do workout Wednesdays and things like that. Water Wednesdays is another good one. I switch it up every single week, so there's not a single week that repeats it. And so it does take a lot of effort on the back end, but putting that effort into your posts, you'll see it pay off with your challengers. So then Thursday. I know that a lot of people, and this one's my favorite, and I'll never stray from it, Thankful Thursdays. So theming your day with a non-scale victory and asking them to share that is a great way of having everyone participate, because sometimes Saturdays make you feel bad about yourself, and if you haven't had a good week, non-scale victories help you remember, okay, I still drank all my water, and that's still positive. Full Heart Friday, that's another idea. Share what this group means to you and what you've learned through the recent months. So I'll do that one towards the end of the group, towards the end of the month, and it helps them, verbalize if the group has helped them. And it helps me as a coach to see where I can improve. So if they're sharing things that is working really well for them, that they really enjoy about the group, I can make sure to implement that the next month. Foodie Friday, I know that my challengers hate it when I do this, but I ask them to share every single thing that they put in their mouth throughout the day. And I do it intentionally on Fridays because Saturday is weigh-in day. Now I have thrown in a couple random days here and there, but that's a great tool. Have them share a picture, good or bad. It also, as the coach, helps you know nutritionally where they stand. Because if they're not doing a program, you know that, they're having like this carbs a day. We should probably work on that. That might be why their stats aren't going down on Saturdays. So that helps you problem solve as a coach. And then Fancy Feet Friday, you can have them share a picture of their workout shoes. And then obviously Saturday is another really great one. That's one that happens every week, so that one never goes away. Sundays can be, Sappy Sunday worked really well for our group. I asked them to share a picture of someone in their life that makes them smile. So that everyone's going to engage with a post like that, because sometimes with these nutrition posts or the workout posts, if someone's really struggling and they're not putting in the work behind the scenes, they feel super left out, they feel discouraged and defeated. And so having posts that aren't 100% centered around weight loss is a good tool to engage everyone in the group and build community. The last one is, this one is always really good to see, is Suck It Up Sunday, because you need to know what it is they're struggling with so we as a coach can meet their needs. So if they say, I cannot get a grip on my nutrition, hey, I should probably recommend a 3-day refresh for them. That might really help. But asking them to verbalize where they're struggling, it also lets them see there are other people in the group that are struggling too. So we all are in this together, and it builds that sense of community. So topic 1, my biggest takeaway for that is, screen sharing stop, good, okay, is themed posts. So if you are theming your day and making sure it's not the same every single week, then it builds interest. So people are excited to log on and see, what's the assignment today, instead of, it's Tuesday, it's tip day, got to remember to do it, and then they never go back and share a tip on Tuesday. So that's point 1. So number 2 is behind the scenes check-in. This is something that I absolutely firmly believe you have to have a good tracking system in order to really nail this piece of challenge groups. There's a couple reasons why we do behind the scenes check-ins. I do a ton. I probably send out 20 messages a day to my challengers to check in and see on a one-on-one level how they're doing, because you can't rely on the daily pulse, because some people are scared, they're very insecure, they are overwhelmed by seeing other people's progress. Some people just don't handle that group setting well, but they're still encouraged by what you're posting. And you wouldn't know that if you're not checking in with them on a one-on-one basis. So, our biggest priority is to get people results, and the biggest way to do that is to truly hold them accountable as their coach. I have really I can see a direct correlation in my business when those first 6 months when I had no tracking system, and then the last 3 months when I have, because my ability to manage my challengers, and really if they say I'm struggling, I'm going to a family picnic on Saturday, I can send them a message on Sunday and say, how'd that picnic go? And it makes them know that I truly do care and I'm invested in their journey. So have a tracking system. Whatever works for you. If you want to get a paper calendar and write people's names on it, then do that. For me, I use TeamZ. I'm a huge believer in TeamZ. It works really well for me. But find something that works. So like follow-ups, place people over product. So anybody can go buy 21 Day Fix from the beachbody.com and off the infomercial. But what they're needing is you to walk by them every step of the way. And so by private messaging them, you're truly committing to that piece of the puzzle. You're bringing value to your relationship, and you're creating credibility with your challengers on a one-on-one basis. And it helps also referrals. They'll want to refer people to you if they're having a good experience themselves and if they're getting results themselves as well. In my private messages, if someone shares an update on how they're doing, even if it's that they're struggling, a lot of times I'll ask them to share that in the group, because 9 times out of 10, there's at least 2 other people in the group who probably feel the same way. And so sharing that and saying, if they say, I did really great this week, I avoided a cheeseburger and decided to have a salad, and I'll say, well, share that. Let us rejoice with you. Let us get excited with you in the group. And so I'm constantly checking in with them on a one-on-one basis. My system for integrating a challenger, when someone purchases a challenge pack from me or decides to sign up for a program or whatever, every 2 days until that challenge pack gets to them, I'm checking in and just sending them a message and saying, hey, hope you're having a great week. Your daughter looks so cute in that picture today, etc. Building that relationship even before I introduce them to the group. Then once they're integrated in and they start their program, every 4 days for the first 2 weeks, I'm following up with them in a one-on-one message. Then it goes down to every 8 days and that second month. And then in that third month, it's every 2 weeks. So I'm still having that one-on-one contact, and slowly over time, we don't want them to hold their hand the whole time, their journey. Like, we would get burnt out, the number of people that we talk to every day. So slowly weaning down, but particularly in those first 2 months until they make it a solid habit, spending that time and messaging it, it will be so worth it, because they'll send people to you, they'll be return customers, they'll want to stay on Shakeology because they're seeing the value in it. So number 2 is behind the scenes check-ins. 3 is flash challenges. Flash challenges are a really great way for them to see your personality. You can do a live video and say, okay, in the next hour you need to drink 20 ounces and post picture proof below, or a jumping jack challenge where you ask them to do 20 jumping jacks, or go sprint, or whatever it is, have some kind of a flash challenge that they're not expecting. And if you're at work, if you have a 9-to-5 job, you can schedule those as well. So those, even though they won't be spontaneous to you, the challengers won't be expecting them. And so it's not your typical 6 a.m. post. I have a lot of feedback on the water challenges that we do because I struggle with getting in my water, and I know a lot of people do too, so those are really productive. I encourage you to go live in your challenge groups often. Because they want to see your face and they want to hear your voice and they want to know that they're not alone. I share when I'm struggling. I share when I'm doing really well. I'm sharing if I'm doing really well what I'm doing and how maybe it could help them. And then I share, y'all, I would like to have pizza so bad I can taste it. And they're like, okay, this girl's human too. So do live videos, because then they'll get to jump on. You could even, I have not implemented this, but I have no other coaches who have. They do a scheduled time of the week where they hop on live in their challenge groups, and the challengers can ask questions. So they can brainstorm nutritionally, things like that. So that's another idea. I've also seen a lot of coaches who have started a early morning accountability piece in their challenge groups. So if they have 2, 3, 6, 15, however many people who want to get their workout in at 5 a.m., but they just can't seem to get up and up and move in, they actually do a Zoom call where they get up and everybody sets up their Zoom, so just like this, and they can be doing different workouts, whatever, but they say good morning, they know that everybody's there, they do their work, they mute yourselves, then do the workout, and then come back at the end of the workout and check in, say, how'd it go? Okay, great, have a good day. And then the coach does a shout out in the challenge group for all those who participated. So that's something that I'm kind of toying with doing soon, but that has worked really well for some coaches in my regional group. So that's something that I'm hoping to implement. So that's a great idea, particularly if you're one of the people who want to be an early morning workout person. This is a great accountability tool for you as well. So that was number 3, flash challenges and live videos. Number 4, this one's tough as a new coach, but it is worth it. Those last 2 weeks, if you're doing a 30-day challenge, or that last week if you're doing a 21-day fix, it a lot of time gets dead in your challenge group. People are all gung-ho the first 2 weeks, and they're like, yeah, I'm getting results, I feel amazing. And then they go out to eat, and they have a cheeseburger, and they get off track, and they fall off, just like they've done every time before. But it's our job to hold them to what they told us in the beginning. They said, I want results. Doesn't mean they have to be perfect. But having a prize system that last week of the month is a great way to boost engagement that last week. It doesn't have to be something crazy. It doesn't have to be a whole bag of Shakeology. It can be go to 5 and below and get a tank top and have a point system. So a point for sweaty selfies, a point for meal pictures, all that kind of stuff. So have a point system, share it, do it. I just would recommend not doing more than 5 days, because having to keep track of more than 5 days is exhausting. So, but that will boost, because people will be working towards trying to get that tank. So if they're the one with the most points at the end of the week, then they're the ones who get the prize. So that's a great way to boost engagement that last week of the group. And yeah, okay, so this last point is one that I cannot stress enough. Behind the scenes messaging, and this one is the key. New recruits and new blood. Does not matter if they're getting it. Well, okay, I say that, but that's a personal preference. For me, I never turn anybody away. If they can't buy a challenge pack in that moment, and they still want to be part of the group, I obviously try to get them to get a challenge pack, but sometimes that doesn't work. I have people in my group who've been in my group for 4 months, and then they finally have that aha moment, and they've watched all these other people get results, and they've stayed in the same place, and it just had to click, and they became a customer at that point. So by inviting and constantly adding people to your group, you're going to increase momentum, because here's what's going to happen. Those old challengers that have been around for a while are watching the new group members, and they're watching them kick it out of the park with their goals. Because obviously the first time that someone joins a group, they're really excited and they're into it, and those first 2 weeks are their best weeks. So when those old challengers are watching the new ones, they're like, well, dang, I can do that too, and it helps them step up their game. And so seeing those new people helps your regulars to step up their game as well. I have had a lot of my personal coaches give this feedback too, that the crickets happen, and it's so discouraging. If you focus on new recruits, it's going to really help you. What we do is we do an announcement post. Whenever we invite someone or add somebody new to the group, I'll screenshot their picture. I'll use word swag or something like that, and say, welcome to the group, Amy, on their picture. And I'll announce it to the group, and I'll tell everyone, hey, everyone make sure to say hey to Amy. We're so excited that she's joined us. And I asked the challenger to share what their 30-day goals are and share a little bit about themselves. And so that gets them plugged in from right away. And if you're constantly adding people, then that energy is going to be there. And so the first month, if you only have 5, if you add 5 more in month 2, then there's 10, and it keeps doubling, and that momentum keeps increasing. Another way that you can do that is to ask every challenger who's been around for the first month, hey, do you have a friend or 2 that might want to do this with you? It might be good for you to have some support, and you could do it together. So even if they don't buy a package at that point in time, you're building that relationship with that new cold market person, cold network person. So over time, your numbers will grow to the point where your engagement is very high. And I will just say, out of my private group has 125 people, and literally only 20 people post on a consistent basis. And that's just the odds of the challenge group. But in speaking with those people privately who have not been engaging, they're like, please, they freak out when I mention taking them out of the group, because I'll say, hey, it doesn't look like this might be a good fit for you. I'm just going to remove you so that you don't get all these notifications. And they're like, no, you have no idea how much it helps. So even if they are not engaging, it does not mean, it does not mean you're failing as a coach, first of all. It means that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. But 2, it means that they just need a little bit of extra time. Jennifer and I have a lady in our group who completely did not participate the first 3 or 4 months that she was in the group, like not one post, not one comment. And she made a decision in January or February, and she has made a commitment to herself to comment every single day. And since then, she's lost 25 pounds. So sometimes it just takes people a few months to actually say, okay, there's value in this group. And when people tell me they're struggling, I'm like, you need to participate in the group, because when others are watching you, you're held to a higher standard. So if you join, I know there's someone who joined late, so I'm just going to recap those real quick. To do themed posts. So be creative and innovative and take the time to prep your posts, because then you can spend that time throughout your everyday investing in your challengers and reaching out. The other thing was behind the scenes check-ins. Make sure to be messaging challengers constantly behind the scenes. And if they share a goal with you, then really do help hold them to that goal and help them reach their goals. 3 is flash challenges and live videos. Live videos. Make sure you're doing live videos, because they need to hear and see you. They need to know that who they are isn't just a person behind a computer screen. They're a real person with feelings who care about them. Prizes. So having a point system, and the new recruits is point number 5. So those would be my 5 things that I feel like have worked really well for our challengers and in our challenge groups that have kept momentum going. And I will say, please be encouraged if your groups dwindle. If you're constantly adding new recruits, it will improve. It just may take a couple months to get to that point. But as long as you're putting in the work behind the scenes, commenting on every single post, like if somebody comments on your daily post, truly writing a response back instead of just liking the post shows that you're engaged in what they're saying, and it's not just an assignment that you're not paying attention to either. So those are my 5 best ways to increase engagement with challenge groups. So I'm going to open it up to anybody if they have questions or comments or even things that have worked well for them. I'm totally down for hearing that as well. Let's see, Jennifer answered a question. Yes, Samantha, we still open it to people who don't use Beachbody products, because a lot of those people turn into customers ultimately. That's a personal decision that we made, but it doesn't work for everybody. But for us, we have a group that's open to all people, even if they don't do a program or product, because 9 times out of 10 they come around. Go for it, Jen.
I was going to just add to that. So we do have a group that is open to anybody, but in certain situations like Core de Force, we will have a group just for Core de Force. So it just depends on timing and programs that we're currently doing.
And Tina asked, your challenge group is ongoing. Yes. So we have just kind of a monthly group that we add people to. For me, it's easier to focus one place and do one place really, really well than have 4 to 5 different groups and only 2 to 3 people in each group, and it just flop all together. So I'd rather have one group that's a multi-program group than to do a program-specific group. Now, when there are product releases and things like that, we capitalize on that. So Country Heat, we had a Country Heat specific test group that killed it. And then when they were done with Country Heat, we just put them into our big group. So when new products come out, or if you yourself are doing a personal push, say you're doing a 3-week, 21-day bikini challenge, then that's a great opportunity to do a separate group. But we do have just kind of an ongoing challenge group that we just keep growing and building. And we'll be doing more of those program-specific groups as our numbers are increasing. But for now, that seems to be what works the best for us.
And generally speaking, we're posting the same thing. So if we are running 2 groups, we're not changing up the material. We're posting the exact same thing in our big group and our program-specific group. So SyncShare helps with that. So you just click on each group that you want and you set up the time and post.
Right. And I think that goes back to creating valuable posts. If you're investing the time and the energy to making sure that your challenge group posts are valuable to your challengers, I think out of all the things that we've done well, that's one thing that has really been successful, because they know that I'm putting in the work behind the scenes to invest in them and to do everything I can to help them reach their goals. And so that really shows them that they should work hard for me because I'm doing all this work behind the scenes. So yes, we do have an ongoing challenge group. So that's what's worked best for us right now. Any other questions? No? Is this helpful, I hope? Yes. Okay, good. I hope so. We are still newbies at all this, so we're still learning through it. But challenge groups are something that you really have to prioritize and invest time into, because they're the bread and butter of the business. Your top producing, most successful team members are going to come from your challenge groups. It's going to be very rare that you're going to get a cold market recruit that is going to be a rock star. It's just not. If they don't understand the heart of the business, then, and you're going to see that heart in your challenge groups, then it's going to be hard to run a super successful team. So not that it's impossible, but just from the things that I've watched since being in the business, those coaches that are the most successful, and I've even heard Anita Myron talk about this. She is one of the top coaches, and she said that for 6 months she got away from her challenge group experience, and she started doing a lot of sponsored posts on Facebook and recruiting all these new people because she was good at that. But when it came down to it, it wasn't, the people she was recruiting weren't people who had the heart for the business, had the heart for helping people. And so when you're recruiting out of your challenge group and maximizing your challenge group, because you'll be able to see, all of my coaches, every single one of them came from my challenge group. And that's because they loved the experience so much. They said, oh my gosh, I've got to pay it forward. I have a brand new coach who has been with me for several months, and she's lost 30 pounds, and she's just like busting at the seams with joy. And she's like, I have to do this. I want to share this, and I want to change someone else's life. And those are the coaches that we want. Like, that's who we want to be recruiting. And if we're putting the time into our challenge groups, just don't get discouraged when it's crickets. Keep pushing forward. It will get better, because Jennifer and I know that that's definitely a season. And I have sent out a couple of stern videos before. I have said, okay, y'all, I know that 17 people saw this post and I got one sweaty selfie. Where are you at? And it's okay. And on Saturdays, I will call people out. If they didn't participate in Saturday, I'll tag them, because you can see who it is who see those posts. I will tag their name in that post and say, hey, looking forward to seeing you check in. If you forgot to weigh in today, make sure to weigh in tomorrow. And they know that I'm on top of it, because when they sign up with me, I've had conversations with people before, and I say, if you can't handle me checking in on you, then you don't need to be part of my group, because when you signed up with me, you asked to have a coach, and that's what I'm going to be for you. And that's the piece of the puzzle. That's what's working so well. And so I really want to maximize that challenge group experience, because that's where I came from as a coach. When I started, and that's making Jen smile, because she was my original challenge group contact. So she's the reason that I am here, because if I hadn't fallen in love with the challenge group that I was in, then that was the missing piece for me. That was the piece that helped me change my life and get on this journey and not give up. And you have people to help that you can be that piece of the puzzle too as well. So hopefully that was helpful. So that's it. It was a last minute phone call. His schedule's going crazy, so I was trying to grab some content for you before the day ended. So I hope that was super helpful. Feel free, if you have questions, if you want to go back and listen to the call and screenshot those images that I posted, that I shared of what I do in our groups for ideas, you can feel free to do that too, because those specific things have been super helpful. So I think that is. No one has any questions? Nope. All right, then we are good. All right, thanks for joining, guys. Bye.